The 2024 Euros are underway, which means unmissable action is on our calendars. But June and July are great months for using up their annual leave, and who wants to spend their holidays searching dodgy websites for low quality streams littered with ads? Enter Surfshark, the most easy to use and complete VPN service for amazing value for money, allowing you at the click of a mouse or touch of a screen to change your virtual location while giving you an extra layer of security so you can browse safely. I'll be in Spain for a few of the games, and what's watching England without Guy Mowbray's commentary or Lineker's hosting? But thanks to Surfshark, I can change my location in seconds to switch to the UK and use either ITVX or BBC iPlayer and tune in to the Three Lions. I've used Surfshark for a while now, and it's crazy how quickly you can get a whole new library of content in seconds. And with their 30-day money-back guarantee policy, why not give it a go? Especially given this code for an extra 4 months free. Go and secure your privacy with Surfshark now. But first, let's get to talking about the man of the hour. Praising young players will always be a dangerous game, as many who peak early let it get to their heads and lose the ability or drive to achieve longevity. In a squad like Manchester City's, standing out is almost impossible, and pressure to maintain that high level is overwhelming, because as soon as your form dips, a hungry reserve is on standby. So someone with the patience to wait their turn, earn their place and improve year by year while still only in his early 20s deserves some credit. Born 8 miles from Maine Road, Philip Walter Foden was always going to play for the Sky Blues. A citizen from birth, the kid from Stockport was scouted at 4 years old and quickly rose to prominence as the youth star to look out for. At top speed, he could slalom through whole teams, sitting down each marker that dared to stop him, and though below the ideal height with a frail build, his on-ball technique was enough to earn him an academy scholarship in the July after his 16th birthday. Before 2016 became 17, Guardiola introduced him to the first team to get a taste of what was to come for Foden. But it was on the international front, in the white of the Three Lions, that the Mancunian had his breakthrough moment. Inspiring the under-17s to a comeback against Spain, with a double in the final, England lifted the World Cup for the first time in that age group, and named tournament's best performer, his profile was growing. Word had spread throughout the Etihad, and whispers of a generational talent were building before he had even stepped foot on a Premier League pitch. That November, he debuted for the first team, given 15 minutes in a Champions League game as substitute for Yaya Toure. Featuring for a collective 45 minutes, the 17-year-old became the youngest player ever to be handed a Premier League winner's medal, only intensifying his appetite. Knowing exactly how to play it, Guardiola held off from throwing Foden in at the deep end, instead giving him full run-out in the national cups where he got a feel and gained confidence. In only his second league start, he got revenge against Spurs for knocking them out of Europe 3 days earlier, nodding in the only goal of the game, announcing himself to the division. Involved a little more this time as City swept up every domestic trophy, the teen was making all the right strides and had the backing of his coach.
Juan is the most talented player I've ever seen in my career as a football player manager. He has everything to become one of the best players, not just in England.
But securing the desired starting spot in a team of City's calibre would be tricky for anyone. The local boy's true position to this day is hard to pin down, and back in 2019 it was no different, which was ultimately down to the way the Spaniard wanted it. However, for the creative midfielder type, he was spoiled for choice. From Sane and Sterling on the wings, to the Silvers, to the Belgian mastermind, it was as much about waiting his turn as it was earning his place. But as more minutes came his way, the more he proved. Gifted with a magnetic touch and the agility of a cat, he suited Guardiola's system like a dream, holding onto the ball comfortably as they dominated possession. Developing quite the eye for a pass, his playmaking qualities shone from the central areas, while out wide, dribbling was the key, gliding past tackles just as he did in his youth. When his idol David Silva left in 2020 after a decade at City, it was believed that Foden would fill in as an 8, but Pep continued using him elsewhere to encourage his versatility. From left mid to the centre, to either wing, or even as a centre forward, the 47 was able to influence games as a drifter. Stats can be an unfair indicator for a Foden type, but the moments were sticking in the mind's eye. From a vicious hit to win at Anfield,
he goes and wants one himself and has got one,
to a decisive double against Dortmund on the road to the Champions League final, this COVID campaign was the 21-year-old's first double-digit year in both goals and assists, appearing 50 times for the Sky Blues. His story stayed on this course for another 2 years. Tested by the pricey newcomers, Foden held his place as City's star boy in the congested area between midfield and attack. Able to make the smallest spaces appear big enough, his reactive feet and slight build meant he could wriggle out of even the tightest gaps and cleverly use his body to guard the ball on runs. The Englishman's dribbling was now world-renowned. Finding his comfort zone on the left wing, Foden enjoyed picking up and carrying it from wide to central areas where he was a proper threat as either provider or finisher. Still a student of the game, he'd learned plenty on the technical side and began attempting more audacious passes while maintaining an accuracy of above 85%. Hitting the ball much sweeter, the training ground drills were paying off, so his overall game became more well-rounded, and his trophy cabinet was growing at a crazy speed. By the summer of 2023, Foden was now a continental treble champion, with over 20 international caps and 16 winners' medals.
He's a sensation.
And yet there was a building narrative asking whether the Mancunian was living up to his hype.
Who do you not rate that everyone else does?
Phil Foden.
Despite his absurd success, some were underwhelmed by his career, believing by now he should have a more prominent role for both club and country.
But what Bellingham's done is he's almost made the England team his own. It feels like the team's going to be built around him. I thought that was going to be Phil Foden. The fact that he has moved positions so often has probably hindered him.
Though it sounded ridiculous, their words had some merit. Foden hadn't appeared in the Euros final, nor started either of the 2023 FA Cup or Champions League finals, and some were daring to ask,
as good of a technically player he is,
well, you dare say he's a luxury player.
He's a luxury player.
No!
Regardless of his reliability and adaptability, his stats on paper weren't amazing, and he wasn't seen as a key figure in the way others were. A victim of his own quality, he'd become something of a utility player for Pep, who shunted him around the pitch, so his influence was limited. 6 seasons in, many were wondering if this was his level in the sky blue shirt, or whether there was something else to him that had been kept in the dark. Before long, these questions were answered. Kevin De Bruyne's troublesome hamstring popped again 23 minutes into their league opener at Burnley, and given the long-term implications, someone would need to assume his mantle as the chief creator. Still starting off Haaland's shoulder, Foden was free to come inside to support the Norwegian and his false 9 Julian Alvarez from the number 10 role. Here, his restrictions were lifted, now able to showcase the full range of his gifts. Years beside the Belgian had helped him see the game differently, getting his head up and scanning the pitch before picking out the perfect pass. As with any young player, keeping a cool head and slowing things down have been a weak spot of Foden's game, yet in the middle we saw a new Foden, composed and patient on the front foot, disguising assists in behind from the edge of the box to the byline.
The turn from Foden, and a wonderful chance. Alvarez, there it is.
For a half decade, viewers have been entertained by his footwork, but this was different. He was dictating plays in De Bruyne's stead, knowing when to slow the tempo or ramp it up to the max. The main change that couldn't go unnoticed was to his numbers. A standard start to the campaign saw him adding some lovely strikes to decorate games that City had control of, but as he adjusted, the 47 began to decide them. Haaland's winter injury left Pep desperate for someone to shoulder scoring responsibilities, and Foden stepped up. 5 days after rippling Fluminense's net to clinch the Club World Cup, their 5th trophy of 2023, he smacked a beauty past Everton.
Foden, clean as you like.
And then 3 days later set up both goals in a victory over Sheffield United. Foden's decision making in dangerous areas was much more critical, and therefore his chance creation numbers had shot up as the string pulling maestro, connecting the dots in the final third. Fully endorsed by Pep to be centre stage, he started picking up speed, sealing a first round FA Cup win and neatly collecting another league match ball with a hat-trick at the G-Tech.
Hattrick, Phil Foden!
Next, they hosted United, a must-win for any citizen, but one in particular was in red-hot form and trumped Rashford's strike with a leveller.
Foden!
And the follow-up with 10 minutes to play multiplied the ecstasy for the lifelong fan. Again, he'd been decisive and flipped the scoreline in their favour.
He's the best player right now in the Premier League, so for the amount of things he does, it's unbelievable.
2 subsequent draws versus their main competition kept City second in the title race, and next in this tough run was 4th place Aston Villa. On the verge of half-time, the 47 restored their lead with the first free kick goal of his career. Finding the unreachable corner again 10 minutes after the break gave them a cushion, ahead of a goal that displayed both his character and class.
He wants the hat-trick! Oh, he's got it!
I just feel alive. I feel like I'm always involved in the game.
As one of Europe's most informed stars, Foden was perfectly set for the biggest challenge of City's campaign. In Madrid, the match didn't disappoint. Within 15 minutes, the holders had their 1-0 lead overturned by Real's Brazilian front line to revive the atmosphere. Pep's team talk spoke to the saviour, who in the second 45 added another screamer to his growing collection.
Created the opening, brilliant! Oh, what a start this boy is!
Acknowledged as man of the match, his stylish showing as talisman proved that the unstoppable 47 could do it anywhere. In the end, the draw got away from them, as Ancelotti's men chased number 15. But back in England, it was all to play for. The Gunners' April trip-up against Villa gave them an opening, and another Foden double in Brighton helped keep them 2 points clear at the top of the table. Welcoming West Ham for the final match day, a win was the only way to guarantee the gold, so nerves were high that Sunday afternoon. Still determined to complete this exceptional season, Foden gave the Hammers no time to breathe with what now was his signature finish.
Phil Foden! Oh, wow!
And when he side-footed a second in, 15 minutes later, the champions were crowned.
That's the boy!
4 in a row was uncharted territory for a Premier League team, reinforcing the place of Guardiola's City in the conversation for Britain's greatest club sides.
I think now we've put ourselves in the history books.
And I know your teammates call you the sniper. I mean, with that strike, you've definitely earned that nickname.
Yeah, I mean, the sniper's going to stay forever, I think, now, so yeah.
Turning up when it mattered, Foden finally had his true breakthrough, becoming the youngest to ever collect 6 winners' medals, 10 days shy of his 24th birthday. Of the outfielders, he'd appeared for the second most minutes, and his personal best 19 goals single-handedly added 13 points to their tally.
He is quite something!
The Football Writers Association named him the star of the division. Coming into his own mid-season, his market value shot up 37% in 5 months, and with his prime still to come, it's hard to deny that he's worth every penny of it. Not only is he now a key cog of City's current crop, Foden will be the centrepiece of the future, not just at club level, as now he's unignorable to Southgate, who's got to quickly adjust his system to fit in the man who could take the Euros by storm this summer. It's crazy to think that a kid in his mid-20s, who showered in the praise of this era's most brilliant footballing mind, with literally every club accolade possible, could have skeptics. Yet in this time of stats, facts and social media, opinions fly too freely. The only one that mattered to him though was that of his coach. Guardiola took his time with Foden, refining the Stockport street footballer and unlocking new avenues for him to reach his true potential. Results were finally coming in. Pep didn't want him resting on his laurels, instead making him work for the minutes and demanding a lot of compromise, so that when given the opening, he'd take it. Whether he's got more to give is a mystery, but one thing is certain: should he stay injury-free, Foden, as he always has, will go above and beyond to find out.